This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It is sponsored by Independent Bank, and we are a week away from Christmas. It's December 18th, and with only, 13 days left in 2021, it's almost time to start looking back, isn't it?
Ho,
Katie?
ho, ho. Absolutely it is, and it's been one heck of a year, Rich. I mean, that's all we can say about that. We have the boss lady with us this morning, Mayor Carla Filkins, Cadillac sitting mayor. Welcome, Mayor Filkins.
Thank you, Katie.
So you've had quite a year. And as I was saying, as we were chatting before the show started, this is one lady that has a lot of positive momentum behind her. And I chuckle about Carla because she's this beautiful woman with a big smile on her face, and she's got plans for the city. But it's one of these, get on the bus. Don't get in front of the bus, Rich. Get on the bus with Carla. She's got some amazing things in the works. So tell us about it, Mayor. Tell us about your year.
Wow, it's been a challenging year for us and everyone.
Right.
But I think that from a city perspective, I'm really proud of the work that the city staff and the council have been able to accomplish this year. Okay. Because while we were constrained in so many ways by COVID and how we were able to do business, the staff stayed right on task. We never had people off on furlough. They stayed there. They were ready to help in any way that they could, whether it be our ambulance or our fire department or our guys in the utilities department. Doesn't matter. They're amazing.
Sounds like a thank you is in order, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, always.
From the community. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you most proud of in terms of what got accomplished in 2021?
Well, I always will go back to the Cadillac Commons project because, when I first became mayor, that was kind of one of the very first things that we were able to, present a vision, if you will. And with the white Pine Trailhead about to be bid out, it's the fifth element of the Cadillac Commons. And so we're just incredibly proud of that project. And, the vision for that in my mind was always it was going to be a place where the community could come for fellowship and to just be and to enjoy, our beautiful downtown and our lake and, the beautiful job that Rotary did on the pavilion and that whole update. That was kind of the first step. But then just seeing it come to fruition. And this summer, my gosh, I don't know if you both had the opportunity to get down to the farmers market.
Yes.
But they knocked it out of the park.
They sure did.
We actually had Mary on the show.
Yeah, okay, great.
In the weeks leading up
Yes.
to that, and they promoted it, and it was great. People came, exhibitors came, people came and bought. It was a great place to be.
Right.
And I'll tell you, Mayor, I think that Cadillac Commons footprint there sets us apart from other like-sized cities. It makes Cadillac unique.
It does. And, when you say that, recently the city, and we can talk about that in a minute, but we received a grant from Consumers Energy.
Nice.
And when the lovely lady from Consumers was there from the foundation, she was talking about, she just looked out over the commons and she referred to Cadillac as a Norman Rockwell community.
Oh, I love it. That gave me the chills.
And they do so much all over in the state of Michigan. She sees a lot of places, and she just had so many warm feelings for our community.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she sees all kinds of cities. So what a
She
compliment.
does. She does.
And for her to pick your project to give money to.
Yeah, that was really an amazing gift to the community, and one thing that we're really, really proud of. And it just happened a month or so that they had an event down at the marketplace, and Consumers put on a reception and presented the city with a $250,000 check.
Incredible.
And what this was it's a grant. They only give out 2 in the whole state of Michigan.
Wow.
And so when the city staff, Marcus, the city manager, John Wallace in community development, and Abigail Pluger was key to this grant writing. But it was a vision for a revitalization program in our community to address blight, to address safety, to address, public art, more park space. And they knocked it out of the park, speaking of park spaces. But, over 140 communities wrote a grant. And
wow.
Cadillac and the city of Flint got the 2 grants.
Isn't that
Yes.
something? Who was your grant writer?
Abigail Pluger at the city, and John.
Good
and then
job,
Marcus.
Abigail.
Yes.
Nicely done.
Yes, something to be really, really proud of.
Grant writing is a skill
Yes.
that you cannot put a dollar figure on.
250,000.
Well,
Yeah.
but seriously.
This time.
Yeah.
We obtain a lot of really wonderful grants. The city staff just does an amazing job with that. They do an amazing job of going out and finding what's out there and available to us. And they put in the time and the effort to, compile these grants to the very best of their ability. And we have really reaped the benefits of that.
How hard is it to find grants for specific things? Are they well advertised, or are they hidden on purpose that you have to go and find them, or how does that work?
I think it's kind of a combination. I'm not a grant writer, but over the years with different organizations that I've been involved with in the community, it's like sometimes you just happen upon it, and it's like, oh wow, this is perfect. We could sit down and write something for this. But then other times, John Wallace is a master at this, of knowing what's out there and available. I think he does a lot of research. But we also have, resources available to us through the Michigan Municipal League. And, they sometimes help point us in the right direction. And we're always listening. We participate every year in the spring and the fall conference and go down there. And, we keep our ear to the pavement. And, we just, we just go after it. If it's out there and we think it would fit our community, it's really important to throw your hat in the ring.
Right.
So,
right. How often are you meeting about these types of things?
The staff does it on a very, very regular basis, right? Okay. So I personally, council doesn't necessarily sit down and we're not a part of the grant writing. But we certainly, a lot of times, if they have to have my signature, they always have my support,
right?
Because I get excited about those things, but constantly.
Right.
I think that one of the things very early on, and this goes back 8 years now, when I first started, it was interesting to me to see how over the years, before I became, looking back historically, at one point, when Prisha was on staff,
right.
She's a terrific grant writer,
yes.
And the city was just doing a lot of things with grants. And then, the city went through a period of time where, staffing was reduced. And so we weren't doing so much. But then, this whole Cadillac Commons project started, and it's like, it just set everybody into high motion.
Isn't that
and
exciting?
now it's like, we're on this path and we want to keep going.
Right. Momentum.
Yes.
It's momentum.
Yes.
It is. What's your favorite part about your job?
My job as mayor. Sometimes I say it's the opportunity to marry people.
Yes.
Right. So, but truly it's about the people, Katie. Whenever I've had, the opportunity to perform a marriage ceremony, I meet new people, I meet their family, and I've just made wonderful friends that way. But even in the community, not everybody's going to be happy with the things that we do.
Right.
Some people will be happy, some people are, just neutral, some people they're going to not like it. And a part of that, a growing experience for me is, having been able to get to a point to be accepting of that.
Right.
And just really understand where people are coming from their place, and just do the very best to respect one another.
Right.
And we have such a lovely community.
Oh my gosh, so much to be proud of. She's got a servant's heart, Rich.
She does. And, it's very interesting when you look over the park area, the splash pad, the commons, all of that branded together. If you looked at the city at that area 5 or 6 years ago and fast forward to now,
right?
You think, wow, this is amazing. Don't you think that, Carla?
Oh, I think that.
Yeah.
I remember standing down in the park, and the whole parking lot was gone, and it was just down to the dirt. And walking up there with some people from the community and like pointing at different places and just standing there and visualizing it with them. I remember that day, and just being on that train and being able to see it all along the way has just been amazing.
Come to fruition.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, the beautiful new area that the Shea locomotive is now underneath gives it a little more room to breathe above.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Rich, that makes me think of one more thing when you ask what I really love about this job. The collaborative spirit in this community.
Right.
And the project with the Shea is a perfect example of that. The Cadillac Leadership Program does such amazing things in the community.
They sure do.
They partner with the city, and they just come up with just the right projects. The splash pad, now the Shea. And I remember a few years ago, Tom Huckle called me, and he talked to me about needing something different above the Shea. And
isn't that something?
And years later, here it is. And I don't know if it's exactly what he envisioned, but it happened.
Yeah. Right.
And this year, they have chosen the old Kaiser baseball fields.
Yes, we had him on the show.
Yes,
weeks ago, we sure did.
And the amazing thing about this job is truly, I've always said since I've been there, it's, the city staff is so amazing.
Right.
And really, it's just being there and just getting out of the way.
I see.
That whole, from a leadership perspective, let them just do their job. Let them be creative. Let them, give them some rein and see what comes of it. And look what has happened.
You've empowered them. And I think one of the things that makes you unique as a mayor is that you're so approachable and that you're willing to listen. Listening
is really important.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How much time does Mayor Filkins spend on a daily basis? And I know that's, or maybe let's say weekly, in that role, because you've got your council meeting monthly, right? Twice a month. Okay. And then, the phone calls, the emails, the meetings. How many hours per week would you estimate?
That's really hard.
Okay.
Because I'm always available 24/7.
I know.
I tell my staff that at work, you need me, you call me, right?
That's
so
awesome.
I always make myself available wherever I'm needed. Right. And, I've the different opportunities to be a part of or engaged with different organizations in the community has been a really wonderful part of the job. And so, we have a council meeting twice a month, the first and third Monday. I sit on the planning commission, so that's the fourth Monday.
Oh boy.
And then
Mondays are busy at the Filkins residence.
Yes. And then I have Women's Giving Circle on the second Monday. So, and then I also am a part of sit on the West Corridor Improvement Commission. So
we know about her in the West Corridor, Rich. She's done amazing work. We're going to go to break. We're going to be back with more of Cadillac Unscripted and Mayor Carla Filkins right after this.
This is part 2 of Cadillac Unscripted for December 18th, 2021 on 107.9 CDY, sponsored by Independent Bank. And our special guest this morning is Mayor Carla Filkins, and we're going to spend the next 14 or 15 minutes covering some things that we didn't get to in the first segment, Katie.
That's right. We've got the boss lady with us this morning. Carla, we were talking about collaboration and your role as mayor and kind of your duties and your meetings and what makes up your day. We know not to call her on a Monday. She's got a meeting every Monday. Here and there. But you sometimes sit in with the Ministerial Association. You get invited to their meetings. Tell us about your relationship with the faith community and tell us about your relationship with education here in Cadillac.
Okay. Well, yes, I do get invited every now and again to go and sit down and chat with the Ministerial Association. And it's always such a wonderful, wonderful opportunity.
Right.
And they just want to hear what's going on at the city. And then, so I get to talk about all of the, fun things that are going on or interesting things that are going on, development downtown. They find whatever I talk about, they find really interesting. But then I really enjoy kind of just opening the floor and they ask me questions.
Well, and we're talking about a room full of leaders.
Yes.
Yes. They've got a lot of followers. And so it's good for them to hear from the horse's mouth, if you will, what's going on with the city so that they can pass that along to their congregations.
Yes.
What about public education?
Well, the city works really closely with the school system, and we provide an officer in the school, and this day and age, that's something that's really, really important for kids to have that open relationship with,
absolutely,
and have that presence there. But we work really well together with school system.
You've got a close relationship with our superintendent too, and
yes,
I think that helps.
She's a great lady. Yes,
awesome.
Yeah.
Two strong leaders, Rich.
Yeah, she's a great
absolutely.
lady. She's spot on. We both are part of Rotary together.
Oh, good.
And she does such a great job of communicating what's going on and what needs might be. She's always like 2 steps out in front. So if there's something that the city needs to know, she's on the horn, and that communication is really important.
Oh,
And not every school system has someone at the helm who is as familiar with their community as Jennifer Brown is.
Right.
I think it's extremely important that, and that doesn't happen all that often. Superintendents are brought in from out of town and they've got all these new relationships that they have to build, and they don't know the little idiosyncrasies of the town and, how that all works. So, yeah.
Well, and she's transparent. And so that builds trust too. Just like Carla is transparent. If you've got a question, call her directly, call her personally, and she'll explain what's going on. Your vision for 2022, if money was no object and Carla could take the city anywhere she wanted to, where would you take us next?
Oh, gosh. Well, one of the things that the city has been working on for, the last several years is becoming a redevelopment ready city.
Okay,
so
now what does that mean?
what does that mean? There's like a whole page of criteria that you have to have met to be considered a redevelopment ready city. And what that does is it opens the door for developers who want to come into the community. And so it escalates the process because we've already already taken away those roadblocks that sometimes will slow down development. And so it's from, their vision to completion, it'd be a much quicker, easier process.
Are we talking about commercial builds? Are we talking about retail? What or all any and all of it?
Yes, any and all of it. Yes.
Wow.
There's a lot of developers looking at Cadillac. And
yay.
There's a lot of people who are investing in downtown. And some of the people are people who have lived and worked here and they don't even live here anymore and they're still investing in Cadillac.
Great.
And I think that says huge things. And even with our work with Consumers Energy, Consumers is huge and they're so giving to so many communities. But whether it's Consumers or it's someone else out there making grants available, I truly believe that when those organizations see communities such as ours investing in themselves and working well together, they want to help.
I see. So when you say redevelopment, what you're saying is we're ready to grow and we will work with you instead of
Yes.
against you on your with
Exactly.
your okay.
Exactly. Marcus is like, he has an open door policy, and he spends hours and hours with, developers who want to come in and sit down. And, even when they get their projects on the road, the city works side by side with them, removing any roadblocks for them. And, Marcus is, he's got so much going on, in his head. He's so smart and knows what's available out there, and developer might be thinking about going this way. Marcus will point him another way. And, well, there's this out there too.
Right.
And
right.
so, that, I just think that collaborative spirit has made all of this possible.
That's inspiring. It's inspiring.
We look back at, as I mentioned earlier, 5 years ago, before the Commons and before the splash pad and all the new beautifications at the city park and all the changes at the Rotary Pavilion, the positive changes that have happened there. So that goes back 5 years. Where do you see Cadillac in 10 years?
Oh my gosh.
At the end of 2031.
Well, I where I'd like to see us is, I love the size of our community. And I really would love to see every single building downtown thriving with housing, with retail, with, new restaurants.
Yes.
I noticed I was coming back from, I work out of town sometimes. And I was coming home a little later one evening, and it was probably 7:00. And when I came in off of the expressway and came down there by the lofts, it was just last week. And the amount of cars that were downtown, the whole Main Street was lined with cars.
Nice.
Up Cass Street was lined with cars.
And it wasn't that way.
No, and even down in the
Always.
Commons area, lined with cars. Now, I know it's the movie theater, I know it's the restaurant, but people are downtown after normal business hours, if you will. And that's what it was all about, and then for me to go home, I go down by the Rotary Pavilion and then in front of the library. But I'll tell you, every time I drive by that Commons area and that fireplace is going and those lights are twinkling, it makes me smile. I can sit in my car all by myself and smile.
Yeah. Well, you were a huge part of making that happen. And it probably fills your heart full of joy just knowing you had a vision.
Yep.
And you made it happen.
Yeah, so that 10 years from now, I just think that if we can revitalize everything that we have here and just make it just a really, really wonderful, warm, and welcoming community.
Right.
Most importantly for the people who live here, but certainly the people who come to visit us too.
Right. Right. I think that's important to be ambassadors for Cadillac too, and to, talk up our town when we're out of town. Are there other mayors in the state of Michigan that you've befriended that you share notes with?
Oh, sure. When we're at conference, whether it be the Capitol Conference in the spring or the fall conference, it's interesting. The fall conference moves from city to city. So it's never usually in the same place. I think every 4 years they're on Mackinac Island at the Grand Hotel.
Nice.
But I've been able to go to all of these other communities, Marquette, Grand Rapids, Holland, Detroit, and we always have wonderful conversations. And, I am a part of the Mayor's Association, or Association of Michigan Mayors. And there's a lot of exciting things happening in a lot of communities. Right. So it is fun to just compare notes. And, whether it was, a placemaking project, it's like, oh, you got a grant for a placemaking project. What did you do with it? And so there's an award given every year. And so I think we entered it twice, but when something amazing is going on in your community, it's an opportunity to show it off.
Okay.
And so that's how we get to, and then there's actually an award. They find like 4 finalists, and then that community sells it because people vote. All the attendees vote on it, and
Nice.
so it's kind of a fun thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's smiling from ear to ear because she's so proud of Cadillac and she can't wait to present her project. You know, Carla, years ago, I remember my son was playing basketball and you came in to present varsity letters to the basketball team. And, these banquets go on and on, they're lengthy. And I remember thinking she worked all day. She's got, a council meeting coming up. And here she was standing up and shaking every player's hand. And I that really struck me, again, back to a servant's heart and really walking the walk in your role as a leader in Cadillac. And we're just so grateful for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoy it very much.
So number one goal of 2022, are we pinning you down too much? Or?
Oh, wow. You might be. You might
Okay,
be.
just throw us something.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
The White Pine Trail.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is the fifth element, and there's been with COVID and where construction costs went,
Right.
everything went a little sideways, and
A little.
a little sideways, but yeah, we want to get that done, and now we're hearing about some more grants that are out there and available, and now we have to decide, do we keep moving forward or do we back it up just a little bit so we can really accomplish what we wanted to begin with.
Do it the right way.
Yes.
I
yes.
see.
So again, it's just really keeping your ears open for opportunities, because, when we hear it, it's like, oh, we could use it for this.
Right.
This is a vision that's out there. I mean, we got $1 million of the COVID funds, that went to different communities, and we haven't done anything with that yet.
Oh boy.
But it's because of this. First of all, there's all kinds of rules on what you can use it for, how you can use it, et cetera, et cetera. But we aren't in a big yank to, get it done. But, when we were down at conference, we found out that there is actually going to be matching grant funding available specifically for those COVID dollars. Wow. So we have $1 million, but we have the opportunity to turn that into so much more. And so, we have a capital improvement plan, 6-year plan that, is like millions of dollars. So that $1 million isn't going to go that far, but we can definitely take it further.
I don't think she sleeps at night, Rich.
And there's a lot to accomplish.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, we just wanted to thank you so much for your service to Cadillac and for making it a beautiful place to live. And to our listeners, support this lady. She's got a lot going on. She's taken us to all the right places, and you've put us on the map, and we're grateful.
Thank you. It takes a team, and we've got a terrific team.
Awesome.
Yes.
Mayor Carla Filkins, happy holidays to you, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
2 weeks away. We are 2 weeks away from our second anniversary
Oh, my goodness.
of Cadillac Unscripted.
Okay.
I'm going to do a tease.
All right, let's do it.
Katie is famous for making cakes.
Oh, boy.
We may be gifting one of our Cadillac Unscripted Facebook friends/fans/followers a
Okay.
Katie cake.
100%.
Watch the Facebook page for details.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely. I'll deliver.
All right. Next week is Christmas. We'll look forward to it.
Absolutely. We've got special guests coming on. We've got Santa and Mrs. Claus are going to come in and talk to us on Christmas Day.
We will see you then. Same time, same station, next week for Christmas Day. It's Cadillac Unscripted, sponsored by Independent Bank on 107.9 CDY.